I'm Valentina Garcia, and I've always been the quiet observer in a house that never seemed to stop buzzing. Growing up in a leafy Atlanta suburb, our home was a vibrant maelstrom of noise. My sister Kale's effervescent laughter, her top 40 hits assaulting the airwaves, and my parents' endless chatter, usually about Kale's latest viral dance or shopping spree.
Me?
I was the anomaly, often found buried in a book or lost in the logic of a complex math problem, dreaming of a life I could meticulously build, brick by brick, on my own terms. Kale was the sun in our family's orbit, all glitter and gregariousness, while I was the moon, steady, dependable, yet all but invisible. From as far back as I can recall, I was the serious sister, the one with a plan. At 12, I started babysitting neighborhood kids, meticulously hoarding every dollar in a shoebox beneath my bed. By high school, I was tutoring classmates in algebra, steadily adding to my savings for something significant: a laptop for college, a portal to a future I was building. I'd spend hours researching the best models, picturing how it would feel to finally possess something truly of my own. Kale, however, was my antithesis. She'd flit through the house in her latest ephemeral fast fashion acquisition, wheedling my parents for the newest iPhone because everyone at school has it. And just like that, it would appear without a second thought. My mom would radiate, cooing, "Oh, sweetie, you deserve it." My dad would nod, handing over his credit card as if it were mere pocket change. Birthdays made our differences crystal clear. Kale would tear into her gifts, squealing over sparkling trinkets or a coveted designer bag, while I'd carefully tuck away any cash I received, mentally earmarking it for my laptop fund. One year, my dad noticed my growing stack of bills, and a wry chuckle escaped him. "What's the plan this time, Valentina?" There was a brief flicker of something akin to pride in his voice, but his eyes said he didn't quite grasp me. "A laptop," I explained, detailing how the library computers were always packed. He nodded, but the conversation abruptly shifted when Kale burst in, monopolizing the conversation with a dramatic story about her cheer squad's latest dilemma. My moment, as usual, faded into the background. It wasn't that my parents didn't love me. I knew they did, in their own way. But Kale was their golden child, the one who effortlessly lit up their social circle with her undeniable charm. My mom, a real estate agent, and my dad, a car salesman, cared deeply about how we appeared to the neighbors. Kale's Instagram posts, boasting thousands of likes, were their ultimate bragging rights at community barbecues. Me, with my unfussy ponytail and comfortable, well-worn jeans, simply didn't fit their carefully curated image of success. I learned early to rely solely on myself, finding peace in the quiet sanctity of the local library where I could study without Kale's music drowning out my thoughts. By high school, I was singularly focused on college. I spent nights perfecting essays, applying for every scholarship imaginable, and dominating standardized tests. When I received my acceptance letter from Georgia Tech with a full scholarship, I ran into the living room, waving the envelope.
Mom. Dad.
"I did it!" I shouted, my heart thrumming with triumph. My mom glanced up from helping Kale perfect a selfie pose. "That's nice, Valentina," she said, barely looking at me. "Kale, tilt your head a bit." "Perfect." My dad barely looked up from scrolling through car listings on his phone. "Good job, kid. We knew you'd achieve it." Their words were kind enough, but their apathy, a familiar sting. I clutched the letter to my chest and retreated to my room, promising myself this was just the start. Meanwhile, Kale skated through high school. When she brought home a report card littered with C's, I braced myself for the inevitable parental disappointment. Instead, my mom hugged her, cooing, "Sweetie, grades aren't everything. You've got charm." My dad chimed in, "You'll forge your own path, princess." I couldn't believe it. "Are you serious?" I blurted. She barely passed. My mother's eyes hardened. "Valentina, don't be harsh. Your sister's special in her own way." I bit my lip and walked away. The unfairness burned a bitter path in my chest. It was clear. No matter what I did, Kale would always be their unquestioned star. College was my grand escape. At Georgia Tech, I was finally surrounded by people who valued hard work as much as I did. I immersed myself in computer science, spending late nights debugging code and perfecting group projects. The campus, with its vibrant hum of coffee shops and the quiet intensity of tech labs, felt like a world where I truly belonged. When I graduated with honors, I secured a position at a thriving tech startup in downtown Atlanta. The day I signed the offer letter, I felt like I could finally breathe freely. I was building the life I'd always wanted. Moving into my own condo in Midtown was a milestone that felt utterly transformative. It wasn't opulent, just a compact one-bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Atlanta skyline, but it was mine. Paid for with my savings and a company discount program for top employees. I'd walk through the empty rooms, picturing how I'd make it my own, a cozy reading nook here, a sleek desk for late-night work there. I called my parents to share the news, hoping they'd be proud. My mom answered, her voice distracted. "That's great, Valentina." "Oh, hold on. Kale just posted the cutest reel from her mall trip." She launched into a story about Kale's latest brand deal, and my condo faded into the background. I hung up, my initial excitement dimmed, but not extinguished. If they couldn't see me, I'd keep pushing forward. Work became my singular focus. The startup was intense, with deadlines that often kept me up past midnight. But I loved the challenge. I invested my entire being into every project, earning consistent praise from my boss, Mr. Hayes. Within a year, I was promoted to project manager, leading a team of engineers. I called home, eager to share. "Mom, I got promoted," I said, my voice bright. She paused, then said, "That's nice, dear. Did you hear Kale's working with a makeup brand now? They're flying her to Miami."
My dad jumped in.
"Yeah, she's killing it." I swallowed the familiar hurt, forcing a smile they couldn't see. "That's great," I said, hanging up. Their dismissal, however, ignited a fierce resolve within me. If they wouldn't celebrate me, I'd make my own victories impossible to ignore. Kale, meanwhile, was living a very different life. She dropped out of her online beauty course, claiming it was too boring, and spent her days chasing influencer gigs, unboxing hauls, posting selfies, or wheedling cash from my parents to keep up with the latest trends. My parents devoured it, parading her fame at their country club mixers. "Our Kale's practically famous," my mom would exclaim, showing off her latest post. I'd hear about it via the family grapevine, each story a fresh reminder of how little my parents valued my path. But I kept going, saving every bonus, furnishing my condo piece by piece, turning it into a home that exuded me. Clean lines, warm colors, and bookshelves stuffed with both novels and tech manuals. One evening, I decided to celebrate. I'd been eyeing a reliable SUV for months, perfect for Atlanta's sprawling suburbs and my weekend hikes in the North Georgia mountains. When I drove it home, a practical but sleek model I'd paid for in cash, I felt invincible. I hadn't planned to tell my family, but word, inevitably, got around. Kale called, her voice cloyingly sweet, yet sharp. "Valentina, I heard about your little car." "Cute." The word cut. "You know, you're working so hard for what? I could teach you a thing or two about living smarter, not harder." I gripped the phone, stunned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked, my voice tight. She laughed, light and dismissive, yet cutting. "Find a guy who's got it made, Valentina. Why grind when you can shine?" I hung up, her words echoing. We were worlds apart, and I was done trying to bridge the gap. Kale's life was a highlight reel, at least on the surface. While I was grinding at the startup, she was chasing fleeting internet fame, hopping from one sponsored post to another. My parents funded her every whim, new outfits, professional photo shoots, even an influencer networking trip to Coachella. When she barely graduated high school, they threw her a party like she'd won a Nobel Prize. I'd watch from the sidelines, wondering why my straight-A report cards never garnered the same fanfare. But that was Kale. Always the star of the show, with my parents as her biggest fans. Then came Charles Brooks. He was a Buckhead Trust Fund kid, all charm and old money. The kind of guy who owned a significant portion of the city's skyline through his family's real estate empire. Cale met him at some high society Atlanta gala, and within months, they were engaged. My parents were ecstatic, acting like they'd won the lottery. He's from such a good family. My mom effused at a neighborhood barbecue, while my dad bragged about Charles's Porsche collection. I sat through their stories, sipping sweet tea, and feeling like a mere guest at my own family's table. Cale's wedding was a spectacle. Think an extravagant display of Southern opulence, with a price tag to match. She floated down the aisle in a custom gown, and my parents beamed like they'd single-handedly orchestrated the entire fairy tale. I stood in the crowd, my simple dress feeling utterly out of place, wondering if they'd ever looked at me with that kind of unbridled pride. I threw a condo warming party to celebrate my new place, hoping to share my world with my family. I spent days setting up twinkling string lights, a curated playlist of Atlanta hip-hop, and budget-friendly decor that perfectly mirrored me. My coworkers, Marcus and Leia, arrived first, bringing wine and warm hugs, raving about my panoramic view of the Peachtree skyline. Then my family showed up. Cale swept in, her designer heels clicking, scanning my place with a smirk. "Cute for now," she said, eyeing my thrift store couch. My parents followed, barely glancing around before launching into Cale's latest influencer deal. When Marcus tried to toast my promotion, my mom cut him off. "Oh, that reminds me. Cale's shooting a campaign with a jewelry brand." My dad nodded, adding, "She's got star quality, that one." I caught Leia's raised eyebrow, her face saying what I couldn't. This is utterly skewed. I forced a laugh, but inside, I wanted to disappear. Things got worse when Charles abruptly ended their engagement. She called me one afternoon, her voice quivering with a manufactured fragility, yet still dramatic. He said, "I'm too shallow, Valentina. Can you believe it?" I could, but I didn't say that. She moved back home, and my parents turned their house into her personal recovery spa. Cale's tantrums were legendary, screaming tirades, hurled objects, and demands for luxury retail therapy. My mom would call me, lauding Cale's resilience with every breath, while I was juggling deadlines as the youngest department head at the startup. I'd just landed a major client, but when I mentioned it, my dad said, "That's nice, Valentina. But Cale's going through so much. Be a good sister, okay?" Then came the cruise. My company ran an internal contest, and I won an all-expenses-paid, 5-month trip around the world. I was gobsmacked, picturing myself exploring places I'd only ever read about. I called my parents, hoping to share the unadulterated joy. "Mom,
Dad,
I won a global cruise," I said, my voice bubbling with excitement. Silence. Then my mom's voice, sharp as a scalpel. "Valentina, how can you think about vacations when Cale's heartbroken? You should give her the ticket. She needs this." I froze, my heart sinking. "I earned this," I said, my voice trembling. My dad jumped in. "Don't be selfish, Valentina. Family comes first." I hung up, their words ringing in my ears. For once, I wasn't giving in. I was going. The cruise was a dream. I wandered through bustling souks in Marrakesh, stood spellbound by sunsets over the Amalfi Coast, and hiked through New Zealand's emerald forests. For 5 months, I wasn't the overlooked sister or the workaholic. I was just Valentina, soaking in the world. I laughed with strangers, tried foods I couldn't pronounce, and felt a freedom I'd never known. But reality was waiting. When the ship docked back in Savannah, I turned on my phone, expecting a flood of messages. There were only a few missed calls from my parents, nothing from Cale. I drove home to Atlanta, feeling lighter, but braced for whatever came next. When I unlocked my condo door, my heart stopped. Cale was sprawled on my couch, a queen amidst a kingdom of luxury shopping bags and discarded takeout containers, as if she owned the place. "Cale, what the hell?" I stammered, my key still in my hand. She barely looked up, flipping through her phone. "Oh, you're back. I needed a break from Mom and Dad's place. Too much drama." My stomach churned. "How did you get in?" She rolled her eyes. Your spare key, duh. Mom gave it to me. I stood there, speechless. My sanctuary violated. I needed to clear my head. I'm going to the store, I muttered, grabbing my car keys. In the parking lot, my SUV was gone. Panic hit me like a physical wave. I called my mom, my hands shaking. Where's my car? I demanded. She laughed like it was a grand joke. Oh, Valentina. We sold it. Kale needed cheering up, so we took her shopping and to a spa. My dad got on the line, his voice chillingly cold. It's family, Valentina. What's yours is ours. I felt the world tilt on its axis. That was my car. I yelled. I paid for it. My mom's tone turned sharp. Don't be so selfish. Kale's been through enough. Years of suppressed anger boiled over. Selfish. You stole my car, invaded my home, and I'm selfish. I demanded the money back. They laughed, called me ungrateful, and hung up. Back inside, Kale was still lounging, blissfully oblivious. Get out, I said, my voice low but steady, a steel core emerging. She blinked, genuinely shocked.
What?
Get out. Now. She tried her usual tears, her pouty apologies, but I was done. I pointed to the door, and she left, muttering about how uptight I was. The next day, I called a lawyer. My parents had crossed an unforgivable line, and I wasn't letting it slide. I sued them for the value of my car, laying out years of their blatant favoritism and manipulation in court. They fought back, attempting to paint me as the villain, but the judge saw through it. I won. They had to sell their sprawling suburban house to pay me back, moving into a modest, two-bedroom apartment. The neighborhood rumor mill went into overdrive, but I didn't care. Their venomous words held no power over me anymore. Cutting off my family was the hardest thing I've ever done. The first few months were hollow, the silence deafening at first where their calls used to be. But with that silence came profound clarity. I saw how their favoritism had shaped me, pushing me to relentlessly prove my worth, but also weighing me down with an invisible burden. I was done carrying that burden. I threw myself into work, leading bigger projects at the startup, earning genuine respect from colleagues like Marcus and Leia, who became my chosen family. We'd grab drinks at a midtown bar, laughing over shared dreams and coding nightmares, their unwavering support filling the void my biological family left. I started exploring life outside work. I took pottery classes, shaping clay into quirky, imperfect bowls that always brought a smile to my face. I hiked sections of the Appalachian Trail, feeling stronger with every step. I traveled. Weekend trips to Charleston, a solo pilgrimage to the Pacific Northwest, finding joy in moments that were mine alone. My condo became my sanctuary, filled with plants and books, a living testament to the life I'd meticulously built. I bought a new SUV, sleeker than the last, and every time I drove it, I felt a rush of quiet pride. This was mine, earned by me, for me. Now, sitting in my office with a view of Atlanta's glistening cityscape, I feel at peace. My path wasn't easy. Years of being overlooked, of fighting for mere crumbs of validation, shaped me into someone who truly knows her worth. I don't need my parents' praise or Kale's fleeting spotlight. I've built a life I love, step by meticulous step, choice by deliberate choice. There are still moments when I miss the idea of family, but I found something better. Myself. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through pain, betrayal, and hard-won triumphs. If my story hit home, if it made you cheer or brought a tear to your eye, hit that subscribe button and join us. Every choice you make, every step you take, is a chance to build your own unique path. Keep chasing your truth, and I'll meet you at the finish line.